Hi, everyone. I'm Sharon Lechter, and I'm very excited to be with you today. And thank you, AkaShawnThomas, for this opportunity. You've got an incredible group and have incredible questions. There's tons of questions here, so I'm going to go backwards because I went to the original question first, and then I'll come forwards. Hopefully, I'll get everything in. I know that you guys have incredible mentors. And I'm just delighted that Sean invited me to come visit with you today. And I'm going to just jump in here. Very first question that was submitted when I think the day that was opened was from Nancy Lopez. And it says, I'm launching an online jewelry store with pieces made by myself at the beginning of February. I plan to create a blog with philosophical topics related to the message that each piece of jewelry intends to express. So the customers who find emotional value in my brand can also continue receiving related value in the blog and newsletters. However, writing and jewelry are two different areas, yes, but they're both creative. How do you see my plan to combine these? Well, Nancy, the plan has to be from beginning to end. And so if you're just doing the blogs because it's what you want to do, that's a dedication of your time to something that doesn't attach to a revenue model. But if you want this to be your competitive advantage, where you have jewelry that speaks to a specific philosophy or a specific mood, your marketing should include that, and testimonials from people who validate what you do. So how are you going to allow not just doing blogs, you want to create opportunities for customers who purchase from you for that purpose, to tie to a mood or philosophy, to share it with others. So again, it's all about your platform. Do it as your unique selling proposition, and maybe you can actually market one-to-many by going to groups, a certain group. Somebody may write a book on a particular philosophy, and you say, I have this jewelry line that ties into that philosophy, so that you have the opportunity to have a marketing partner. So that would be, make it part of your entire philosophy, not just because you want to do it. Make it as a strategy that makes you unique, and then give your customers the opportunity to share the value of what you do, because everything you do is intellectual property. It's adding value to your business, adding value, additional perceived value to the jewelry, because it has that additional meaning to it. So good luck. Keep us posted on how that goes. Next question is from Robin Turpin. For an artist, a painter who's learning about business as a true beginner, what book would you recommend? Well, for a business at the very beginning, I would say probably, it's all about your mindset, wanting to make sure that you know what it is that you want and how do you create that system. Now, part of what we've created is an online program called Playing Big, is getting you to understand how to get your business to the higher level. But we also have, as part of that, an additional program called Essential Components of Starting a Business. And I almost would say something like that. If you're just starting, you want to have the grassroots, the how-tos on each step of the way on how to form your business. But from a book perspective, Think and Grow Rich helps you get your mindset ready, all right? And understanding Robin with 2 B's, I think you're a woman, so Think and Grow Rich for Women can help you from a standpoint of getting that. But the actual fine-tuned structure of starting a business, I would look for resources that give you that blow-by-blow on how to get a business set up and running, because you want to make sure you have the right structure, you want to make sure you have the right advisors, you have the right marketing plan, you put together your business plan. All of those things are important to make sure that you structure it properly and understand how to define your market and establish your unique selling proposition. And a lot of times, depending on where you live, there are organizations that you can join where you can get kind of resources to help you put that together as well. NAWBO is a great one for National Association of Women Business Owners. Most communities have something called SCORE, which is a nonprofit. It's Society of Corps of Retired executives, and they volunteer their time to help other companies. Next question. Gabe's, R-A-C-Z, Raz, I guess. We hear a lot about creating multiple streams of income, but I'm wondering at what point is it really worth taking time away from my business to look at investing? Good question. For example, I have 30K to put into stocks, then the return may not make up for the opportunity cost of me not focusing on my business. At what point, what amount of capital would you recommend spending serious time and energy on creating a passive income stream? Well, again, that is a great question, because passive income stream means that the asset is making money for you. So I believe that you should be focusing on asset creation and generation from day one, because when you create those assets, they become your employees and they continue generating cash flow for you. So waiting until is an income mindset, and I want you to shift from an income mindset to an asset mindset. And that's what the Play Big Movement course that we've talked about when we had a webinar together, and we will put some links to it as well, allows you to focus on changing that mindset, because so many times we're so used to income. How do I, changing your time for money. I want you to create and build and buy assets that give you your time back. And so, I have a lot of money in the stock market, but I don't spend any time on it. I have the right people on my team that handle that for me. Yes, I meet with them quarterly and more often if the market is crazy, to make sure that what they're doing is in alignment with what my personal goals are. But I hire the experts. And so that power of association is very important. Make sure you have the right people on your team, but don't wait until to start focusing on multiple streams of income. Day one, intellectual property, rental real estate. And yeah, it takes a little time to train yourself and find it, but there are people that can help you do that. And then investing in the stock market, if you are focused on building your business, stay there, but hire someone to help you make those determinations so that you can build as many assets as possible. Because financial independence is when income from your assets exceed your monthly expenses. So don't take it as a time away from building your business. Take it as something that you're doing in concert with that. Because yes, a lot of time up front with tremendous time back when your assets are generating that revenue later on. So good luck, because that's the term passive means you're not working very hard. The assets are working for you and you're getting that income. So keep that as primary focus. Next question, Tina Wagner-Cassie. Hello, Sharon. As a female business owner, I struggle with being spread thin between the business and my responsibilities as a mother and wife. I find that when I'm killing it in one of these areas, I'm lacking in another. Do you have any suggestion on how to find balance between those areas? Thank you, Latina. I love that question because that's one of the reasons I wrote Think and Grow Rich for Women. The book honors the original book by Napoleon Hill, but there were no women in business back in the 30s. And so I wanted to look at those time-proven steps to success, but through the eyes of successful women. And I actually added one chapter that wasn't in the original book, and it's called One Big Life, because I don't believe in striving for work-life balance, because what happens is you get frustrated and you get mad at yourself and you waste precious time today worrying about what happened yesterday. And so I want you to stop that. In balance, we are never in balance. Our life is always, multitasking. But we have more than work and life. We have, financial life. We have our physical life. We have our spiritual life. We have our social life. We have business, and we have other things that we do. All right. All of those things combine into being who we are. So strive to have one big life. And if you wake up in the morning and you didn't have enough time yesterday with your kids, just make different choices today. But don't waste precious time trying to balance, because that's what life is all about, choices, the choices that we make. And I know that you can go all in and create a life where your kids are going to be proud of the choices that you've made. And let them be let them understand the choices you're making so that you can build a financial future for them. So good luck to you, Tina. I hope that works for you. Kimberly Vincent. Hello, Sharon. It's such an honor. Thank you so much. I've listened to Outwitting the Devil on audio with you as narrator over and over again. I love it. Thank you. That's great. For those of you that haven't listened to it, I insisted they bring in 2 different actors. So it's almost like a radio drama. Napoleon, the narrator and the devil is really incredible. After 16 years being a massage therapist and owning my clinic, I'm looking to evolve my business into satellite clinics within corporations to relieve and prevent soft tissue injuries at work. Good idea. And reduce stress in the workplace. I feel that this is my absolute purpose. Doesn't it feel good when you know what your purpose is? Define your definite purpose. I've done my research and completed the aspects of my plan. I'm ready to launch and have lined up my first corporate client, Q1. When and how would you question 1? When and how would you suggest I start looking for corporate client number 2? Okay. And 2, my target customers are HR reps and corporate decision makers. And then, what is your biggest takeaway from Hill's interview with the devil? Thank you for taking time for our tribe. Well, Kimberly, these are great questions. Looking for corporate client number 2. Well, I would say you should never stop looking for the next client. And your target customers are HR reps and corporate decision makers. I might recommend that you reach out to your local SHRM organization, which is Society of Human Resources, but get that testimonial from that first corporate client so that you can use that. Ask them if they have other people, if there's an HR person, say, do you have other associates in other companies that I can reach out to? Give them a benefit for doing that. Your disciples and your satisfied customers are your best marketing opportunity. And find out where they go. Where do the HR representatives go? Are the CEOs, who is the decision maker? And find out, even within that first corporate client, who was the decision maker? And that's who you want to go after in the other companies. And you want to talk about the benefits of it from a standpoint of talk to the CEO, the HR person, and then some of the customers, some of their employees who have utilized the service. And certainly in high stress, and coming up with some ideas for reduced stress at the work desk, maybe create some intellectual property around that is part of your service. So you get, maybe it was a little something that they can put on their computers that tell them not to hunch over, whatever. Add some things that you can do. That's why you can create intellectual property to go along with your system. But have that system set up and then get the testimonials and start looking for others. Look at organizations that you can benefit. And even through those organizations, sometimes when they're a nonprofit organization, you can offer to do a revenue share. So that's a way for them to generate revenue as well. Always look for that third-party validation, all right? So good luck to you. Patricia Lynn Burgess. Hi, Sharon. Happy birthday, by the way. Thank you so much. Such an honor to have you in here and spending your time answering our questions. Well, it is my honor. Thank you. My question or topic of interest is around book publishing. Would like to get my story out and wonder what is the first step besides actual writing. Well, that was going to be my answer, so you jumped in there. Many thanks in advance for your insights and guidance. Okay, book publishing. I would like to get my story out. Well, we all have our story. The issue is, what does your, how do you want to share your story? Do you have a particular industry, a particular cause? Who can most benefit from your story? Start there. And then, yes, definitely just start writing your story. Start sharing your story with friends. Find out what it is about your story that moves them the most, okay? Because that's an important element. Finding out what's, the impact to you about your story is very important. But even more important is the impact your story has on other people. For years, when I started the Play Big movement, I lost my son 6 years ago. So I kind of lost my zest for business. Have you ever had something that stopped you in your tracks? And I was kind of in autopilot. And about 1.5 years ago, I said, I really should probably just retire, because I'm not getting that energy and excitement. I had quite a bit of pushback from my family and friends. And even I think from my son, who said, get over it, Mom, there's more for you to do. We all have more to do. And so I made the commitment last year to just really play big again, to get out there. And first part of my career, I was always going for the gold, always playing big. And since then, so many doors have opened up for me. But I understood once I started sharing my story, the impact I made on others was so huge that I didn't realize I did not want to ever look like I was capitalizing on losing my son. So I really didn't talk about it very much. But once I actually started sharing and talking to people, the floodgates just opened. People who wanted to talk about what had happened to them, people that gave them permission to share about it. It's been amazing. And so understand what your story can do to other people. What are the messages that they hear that you might not even understand, and focus on those. But yes, and today there's so many different options for publishing. I have an entire publishing webinar that we can share with the group if Sean wants to do that. And I think, Sean, I saw a question from you later on that came in most recently about publishing. So I'll share more about that as well. But there's a benefit, a bonus thing in the Play Big Movement course that we've talked about on book publishing. And I really recommend everybody write a book, because that's intellectual property. That's an asset, right? Buy, build, or create assets. So write your story, get it created into a book format. And then as you're doing that, build your platform. How are you going to, the business around the book, that's very important. Building that platform on the people that are out there that you can reach directly, or organizations that you can team up with. So the platform building is equally as important as writing the book. All right. Okay, Ahmad. Hey, Sharon, thank you for being here and volunteering to help us. For someone starting from zero, what is the one thing you advise them to do? Start learning. Well, that's it. Start learning. Taking action. The personal success equation that I share in the book 3 Feet from Gold it really applies across the board to all of us. Combining your passion and your talent. So for me, my passion came from anger. I was mad we weren't teaching our kids about money. My talent was my background in accounting and my history and experience in publishing. And most of us stop there because we think we have to do it on our own, Ahmad. But the power of success is finding that right association. You found the right association by being part of Sean's group. And he's brought these mentors like me into this group to share with you. That power of association is truly a key ingredient to success. Understanding that people that can help speed your way to success, drive you around pitfalls, open doors for you, and then taking the right action. So many times we know what we're supposed to do, but we don't do it. So setting the plan, executing the plan, following through on the plan, so important. And then F, have faith. Faith in yourself, faith in what you're doing, faith that it's even necessary. If you want to start a business, the most successful businesses solve a problem or serve a need. And that's what gives you that motivation and gets you up in the morning excited, because you remember that you're providing a service, or you're solving somebody's problems. And that's the root ingredient for a successful business. So passion plus talent times association times action plus faith. Faith in yourself, that's self-confidence. So where do you start when you have nothing? You start by learning, you start by reading, you start by going to organizations, determining what it is that you're passionate about, what it is, that can really float your boat, get you out there and start creating the plans, and by surrounding yourself with the people that want you to succeed and can help you succeed as well. Lilana, yeah, this was a long question. Let me go back to the beginning. Lilana, moving forward in life, decisions to make. How do you know what is the best decision? Do you base it on numbers? Do you base it on what brings you the most happiness and joy, or a little of both? That's a huge question, and my answer is it depends, but let's see. Current situation. I'm an instructional reading coach. I'm considering moving up into administration. I'm qualified and could do the job. I could make more money. However, I'm not sure if I would be happy. With more money, I could start saving to invest or purchase apartments to create a passive income while I continue the education career. So question, go into administration or stay at this level reading coach? I could retire from teaching in 5 to 7 years. My retirement is based off my last 3 years of highest salary. Something to think about. Being strategic. Yes, it is. Next dilemma. I own a venue, multiple streams of income, it sounds. It's been open for 3.5 years. I've created a successful business. It pays for itself, and I make extra money outside of teaching. However, it feels like I work 2 full-time jobs, and I don't mind doing that now. However, my goal is to work smarter. So I've considered moving into the venue, upstairs loft arena only. By moving in, I now save money every month, and I do not pay rent from my apartment. This money could go to my savings for investment, my future passive income ventures. This also takes my business to another level of only accepting events on the downstairs level. So you're going to lose business opportunity. I hear from that, okay? If that makes sense, I feel like I'm in a catch-22. I don't know exactly what will happen. I just want to move in the right direction. I've thought about this over and over. I have listed pros and cons of each choice. I'd actually planned to move at the new year. Then weddings started booking, and that's where the big money is and the most work. I love working. I just want to set myself up for the best opportunity and the best life for me. I am single. I have to look out for myself and my future. Happiness is very important to me. I don't expect life to be perfect, but I have a total control to be happy. And I love to be happy, don't we all? Hoping to get some insight into these 2 questions from all your experience and advice. Thank you for your time and dedication to writing all your books. Thank you. You are an inspiration. Well, that's Lilana, that's a lot of questions. So let me see if I can ask you some questions for you to help you decide. When it comes to being the reading coach and the administration, I don't know if you've done any administration work. Is it something you hate? Then you need to think about that if you want to be happy all the time. But my initial reaction to your question, in fact, I have a daughter-in-law who is a kindergarten teacher, and she went into being a reading specialist. So she kind of went through the same thought process. But if the idea of being an administrator is not revolting to you, but you don't want to miss time with the kids, as I advised her at the time, and it's more money and you're going to get a higher pension when you go, maybe take the administrative position. And if you miss the kids, have a few clients outside, maybe, from a mentoring, direct consulting, and that will help you stay a little bit more active with children. But if it's something that you think being an administrator is horrible, even for 3 years, you may not want to do that. So the question comes back to you. How do you want to fill your day? What do you want to do? And make sure that it's okay with your professional position, that it's okay that you would have outside clients. But that's in those outside clients, you'll be paid a higher percentage per hour than you will within the system. And so it's a way to make even more money, but you also keep your credentials and you keep that experience and you get those testimonials so that you're creative. So I'm actually giving you a 3rd job here, but it's an opportunity for you to achieve all of these desired things, be able to have a higher pay so that when you retire, you have higher retirement. It gives you the opportunity to have start establishing yourself as an independent coach that you can do outside the business. So think about those things. And as it relates to your venue, I don't think I have enough information to advise you when you talk about moving into the loft. It's not an either or. I mean, you could look for someone to share a living space with to cut down your monthly expenses, as opposed to living by yourself in the loft, which cuts down your business opportunities. And I'm not sure I'd understand the elements of the venue. So if you occupy the loft, how much business will you lose economically? Think of it for over the year. So maybe you have 1 or 2 weddings a month over a year. What's the opportunity cost? And factor that into what you're spending now, because it may be very, very close. And then from a standpoint of look over the last 12 months and the times that you've rented the venue, what percentage of those events rented the loft as part of the space? And if it was a vast majority, then you may be causing yourself to, lose opportunities in the future if you take over that space. And so all of those, you have to do the analysis, the due diligence, the what ifs, the A/B rules, and then look and see if there's an alternative somewhere in between where you can limit what you're doing. And maybe you live in the loft, but you make it so that if it needs to be rented, you can convert it. We have, at our ranch, we have ways that we can convert the living experience to house more people. And so ask yourself, what are the alternatives? How can you come up with something that's in between that gives you even greater opportunity for expansion and even greater opportunity for income? But I wish you well, and I think you'll come up with the right answer. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to do. So, all right, next question. Heather Harvey. Hi, Sharon. Thank you so much for your time. I own a growing mobile grooming company with 12 employees at the moment. Most of them are younger than me, but I do have a few that are older. I seem to have a harder time with them getting my point across or getting the same level of respect that I receive from my younger employees. No one is rude, but it does seem I have to repeat myself more than I should, and honestly, I feel weird about dealing with employees older than me. Do you have any tips on working past this or handling an uncomfortable situation when it comes to an age gap? Well, Heather, I'm smiling, not because you're having trouble, but because I had this exact question this morning, almost exactly the same, put the same way on my Ask Sharon segment, which is available if you want to go to my my professional page, Sharon Lechter, and see how I answered that. But it's all about communication. And this is happening more and more because business owners are younger and younger, and they're having older employees. And part of it is, I talk about many times, the value of your business. A lot of it is in the systems. And you need to outline the system so that when you're managing people, you're managing them to a system. That takes age, gender, the emotions out of it. Say, this is what we expect to have. These are our goals. This is how we're going to accomplish it. And if somebody is not doing that, then you talk to them about that system and what seems to be out of whack for them. It kind of takes that personal heart-to-heart issue out. And it really will help you in dealing with older employees. I have the same thing in the reverse, where we have baby boomers trying to get along with millennials, all right? And it's like, manage to the system. Now, the other thing is respect, all right? If you don't feel like you're getting respect from the older employees, then that needs, you're the leader. You need to have those kind of meetings and discuss, this is what our goal has been, this is what we've done, and talk about your wins, because they've contributed to your wins. And so you want them to feel good about being part of what you've done, the business that you've built. You couldn't have built it without the employees. So showing them the right amount of acknowledgement and respect will generate that acknowledgement and respect back. And I talk about a toxic employee creates a toxic environment. So if you have somebody, maybe you have two of those employees that are older than you and you feel a lack of respect from both of them. Maybe one of them needs to go because of that lack of respect. Have the conversation, have the discussion, and then if one goes, it probably will send a message to everybody else, and they will be happy because they will see more of, because what you're talking about is an interruption in your culture. You want a culture of forward movement, a culture of mutual respect, a culture of celebrating success. And if there's somebody who's rocking the boat, it impacts everyone. And so toxic employee creates toxic environment. And as a leader, when you remove that employee, you're going to feel such respect and gratitude from the rest of the employees, because again, you're bringing the culture to a culture of collaboration, cooperation, and moving forward together. So it's very, very important that you think about what you want from a company perspective and how you're moving forward. All right. Thank you for all your wonderful comments. I love it. Jay Tebow, leaving teaching to work on a real estate deal. Excellent. Yep. And super. Thank you. So I love these comments. Wonderful. I want to make sure I get everybody's answered. So, all right, Joshua Kissy. Hi, Sharon. Thanks so much for answering our questions. I own a food distribution business that employs sales representatives to sell the food. They make a commission on what they sell. I'm struggling to find new sales reps and or replace the ones who are quitting. Any tips on how to recruit sales reps? Well, Joshua, before you start recruiting new sales reps, maybe you need to do some in-depth review of why the ones that you have are quitting and why you're having trouble finding others. Maybe it takes a little inspection, right? Inspection inside you as well to find out what it is that's not working. Particularly when we talked about millennials today, millennials want to feel like they own their job. They want ownership. And so maybe they're not feeling ownership or respect. And one of the things, the topic this morning was asking for help. When you ask for help, don't come from a position of need, come from a position of respect. So your salespeople will respect you if you respect them. Are you competitive? Look at what your competitors are paying their salespeople. That's usually a first sign of why your people are leaving, because they can make more money somewhere else. So you want to build that loyalty, and certainly when it comes to commission-based employment, loyalty is everything, because if they can make the same somewhere else, they may make that decision. So you want them to feel ownership. They want to feel success. Maybe your commission structure needs to be adjusted so that instead of the more they sell, the lower commission they get. Maybe that stays, but then when they get to a certain level, there's a bonus that gives them something to strive for. I've seen that a lot, where the bonus is, the commission structure actually is a disincentive the more you sell. And that's where you want to review that and say, how can I change that? And make sure that people that are here are celebrated. And then I'm not quite sure how your business is set up. So I don't know if these people are together all the time, or if you get together weekly, or maybe you have a weekly call. What is the process for engaging them? What is your system? Outline that system of acknowledgement. All right, I call it little wins here at our office. And when I first brought it in, my team kind of laughed at me, but I said, no, we all have these big goals, and certainly the people that are on commission are hoping to get to a certain goal for the year, right? They may have monthly goals for you, but little wins, and when somebody brings in a new customer, celebrate them, and celebrate them in front of all the other people, so that that helps their self-esteem, and they feel like they are moving forward and succeeding. Everybody wants acknowledgement. It's human nature. And so what in your system can be tweaked? What is it that can be pushed forward a little bit to make those people that work with you even happier? And maybe you have a few people that have been with you for a long time that you're not worried about having them leave. Bring them in, ask them for their input, and say, so-and-so was here and decided to leave, and what is there something that we need to tweak to change it so the environment is better? And of course, at the end of the day, the bottom line has to justify the commissions that you pay. And so sometimes you have to actually say, am I charging the right price? If my prices go up a little bit, can I share a little bit of that increase with the people that are making the sales happen for us? So every element needs to be reviewed, inspected, and looked at it from a non-emotional perspective. Yes, and it may very well not be the money, it may be culture. Are they feeling respected? So look at both the financial aspect as well as the culture of your business to find out what it is that could be causing these people to leave, and make a demonstrative effort to change it so that the people that are still with you see that you care about them and you respect them, and you want something that's going to improve not just your life, not just your company, not the bottom line, but their life as well. All right, so let's see. Next question, Amy Grace. My question is regarding keeping your mindset on track while dealing with social stigmas about strong, powerful women. Interesting. I've been told continuously by men since I was a teenager that many of the things I consider to be positive attributes, intelligence, ambition, independently capable, make me emasculating, intimidating, unattractive, etc. to be around. Well, Amy, you've come to the right place. Having a great relationship is very important to me. Recently, through paying attention to my thought patterns, I have noticed that I am having some mental conflict. I refuse to pretend I am someone I am not and give up my goals and dreams, but I feel like I'm sabotaging my rate of progress because of the feeling that the more I achieve, the more likely it is that I will end up alone. Do you have any tips or advice for dealing with this kind of mindset issue? I know it's kind of a long explanation. Thank you for your time. Well, Amy, it sounds young, but at the time I felt like I was going to be an old maid. At 25, I finally made the decision that it was okay that I was who I am, and that I was okay. So it's okay to be smart. It's okay to be dedicated. They call us aggressive, men assertive. Is something that is plagued us. You need to be able to stand in your own power and show your strength, but through a position of respect. And so ask the people that know you the best, your close friends, ask them, does your delivery need to be softened? I understand you had Lisa Copeland with you, and she talked about velvet hammer. Ask yourself, are you strong, but do you communicate with respect? And is there something that you first look and see, is there something that you need to change? I want you to stand in your own power, but maybe your communication style could be tweaked somewhat. But if you're not true to yourself, any relationship you have is bound for failure, because you need to be authentic. And if you are a strong woman, you're going to find a strong man who recognizes it. But as I said, when I was 25, I finally made, it's okay if I'm going to be an old maid. It's okay. I'll accept that. And as soon as I came to that point of peace, within a month, I met my husband. We've been married 38 years. And as much as I know that what he says is, maybe not what he says, but what he respects my intelligence. And we have a great relationship because we respect each other. And so I challenge you to say, do you have the right associations? Are you swimming in the right ponds? Are you around people who are also smart and successful and who will respect you for what you know and what you accomplish? Because the greatest gift I ever got was when my parents raised me, saying I could do or be anything I wanted to be. That inner self-confidence. I got through a lot of time. I was very popular. I was a straight A student. I was very popular at test time, right? I know that I had certain relationships that didn't work out because I was intimidating. Don't mean to be. I mean, even as an adult, I've had people come up to me and say, I was really scared to come talk to you. And I'm going, what do you mean, me? I don't think I'm intimidating. I want to support anybody and everybody. And so it's always a surprise when somebody says that to me. But ask those closest to you for their feedback. And see, there may be some things that you can do, all right? It's never 100% one way or the other that will put you in a position of highest opportunity and highest potential. But also ask yourself, I think you're hanging around with the wrong people. As I read your question, I think you need to put yourself in a position where your intelligence will be appreciated and respected, and it will become a magnet to men or women that are looking for that kind of mental stimulation and will respect your success. Don't ever tap down your own success, and don't put the femme fatale coating on it if that's not who you truly are. You can be strong and feminine at the same time. You can be strong and graceful at the same time. You can be very assertive but respectful at the same time. And there's a few tricks of the trade another time that I can share related to women being around assertive men, narcissistic men, but that's a different talk. So we'll go on to other questions. Good luck to you, Amy. Jerlene Coughlin. Hi, Sharon. Thank you for being here. My question to you is, what is the main advice you'd give that will help with achieving success from your experience and your opinion, given your level of success and accomplishments? Well, Thank you very much for your compliment. I appreciate that, Jolene. The main advice is that you can do anything you set your mind for. And I go back to the personal success equation. Your passion and your talent combined with the right associations. Don't try to do it alone. You know, school teaches us to be independent, to work on our own, to do everything ourselves. And that's ingrained in our mind. In fact, when you look for help when you're in school, it's called cheating. But in the real world, you know, business is all about collaboration. It's not it's about collaboration and cooperation. And emphasize your strengths, higher your weaknesses. And that has been a huge element of my success. Again, passion and talent, finding those right associations, and taking the action. And the last one is finding your faith. And most of us, that faith is actually fearful. And fear is holding us back. So I would challenge you to think about looking at our Play Big Movement course. But also, if you feel like you're holding yourself back, you have an element of fear, read Outwitting the Devil. You know, we have some compliments about the book. Outwitting the Devil is one of the, it changed my life. It was hidden for 73 years. And I think I didn't even answer that question for Lalana, so I'll share that now. The most impactful part of Outwitting the Devil is the difference between being a drifter and a non-drifter. And in it, the devil talks about 98% of the world population are drifters. And it really helped me understand my son and the struggles he was having at the time. That drifters is people who kind of go with the flow. They say, whatever. And they don't have that definite purpose. They don't have their passion. They don't know what they want in life. And drifting is a very dangerous thing for our society, because we need people that are striving for success, striving to solve problems and serve needs. And so I challenge you to read that book and see if it can help you find those blocks that you are putting in front of yourself. So many times it's fear of money, fear of failing, fear of criticism is a huge one in today. And the book talks about how those things came about. And once you can identify them, you can release them. And it's amazing how bright the world will be. So start with Outwitting the Devil. Think about Personal Success Equation, which I release in 3 Feet from Gold. But if you truly want to create, if maybe you have some financial stress or debt, well, in the Play Big Movement course, we have an entire course as a bonus that talks about getting yourself to financial stability. Because the Play Big Movement is all about getting from financially stable to financially free. So if any of you are there, we have that as a bonus that can help you. And it's like an MBA class. It's not like your normal online course. This is videos and written materials. We want you to truly succeed. So check that out. Lisa Tesado Filter. What was the one real decision factor in making a big business decision to start something new? Was it the money, your numbers, your gut, or the people? Wow, Lisa, I wish I knew more about what you're trying to think about doing. Let's see. In making a big business decision to start something new, was it the money, your numbers, your gut? Okay. Well, I have a personal mantra that I use, and it's not necessarily the final decision, but I do the pros and the cons. And when I made the decision to leave public accounting, I was very successful, very upwardly mobile. But I had an opportunity, and I said, I'm working so many hours, but I'm working for someone else. If I'm going to work this hard, I should be working for myself, because I grew up in a very entrepreneurial home, and it was ingrained in me to buy, build, or create assets. So when I had the opportunity to leave public accounting at the ripe old age of 25, I said, I'm going to do the pros and cons. And I did. I could argue either side. Didn't help me a bit. But my hand kind of took over and wrote across the top of the page, why not? And that's really been, why not try something different? Why not take that road less traveled? Why not find something that solves a problem or serves a need? Now, when you are given a business opportunity, or you have an opportunity and you're asking me about your experience, your opinion, and that you want related to starting something new, was it money, numbers, gut, or the people, I have to tell you, it's all of them. But you didn't add in here your time. So I'm going to challenge you, your time. What are you investing your time in, right? Are you spending your time or are you investing your time? I challenge you to invest your time in your future, because that's going to help you create a better future. When you focus on spending your time in things that can buy, build, or create assets. And yes, I left, when you talk about people, I left Rich Dad at the height of our success. I was making millions of dollars a month, but I had to leave because it was no longer in alignment with me, and I could no longer stay in a situation that was unhealthy for me. And so all of these come together. The money, your numbers, your gut, the people, all of those things come together. And if you're open to what's right for you, and think about that success equation, your passion, your talent, association, action, faith. You'll know when you're in a wrong environment. I never looked back. I never regretted leaving, even though I walked away from millions of dollars. It was the right decision for me. And so take the time. And in the Play Big Movement course, we take you through that process of what is it that you want out of life? What are the things that you're interested in? And what's your personal goal? See, when you talk about numbers, yes, if you buy a business, you're going to want to see those numbers, but your own personal numbers as well. Financial freedom is not a number out there. It's when your income from your assets exceeds your monthly expenses, you're financially free. That number could be $100,000. It could be several million, depending on your level of lifestyle. And so all of those aspects you need to take in. And doing something that with people that you hate is no fun either. So I really think it's all of these combined. Something that makes you excited when you get up in the morning. It doesn't bring you home pulling your tail between your legs. It's important for you to choose something that you feel good about, that has income potential, that helps you expand, buy, build, or create assets with people that you respect and admire. So all of those things you should be looking at, not just one over the other. So good luck to you, Lisa. And Lilas, Bizra. I've just finished Think and Grow Rich for Women, and have just started Outwitting the Devil. For the first time since having my son, who's almost 4, I find myself overcoming mom guilt. Oh my goodness, we all know that. Well, most of us know that. Built in being in the present and more focused and determined than ever. For that, I'm eternally grateful to you, as that feeling of chasing balance and guilt was an everyday worry and struggle for me. Thank you so much. That's tremendous feedback. I truly appreciate that. I have 2 questions. I will be pitching the business to investors in a couple of weeks. What do you look for in a pitch, and what encourages you to invest? Number 2, in your opinion, what are the most effective networking strategies? Okay. Well, I have a lot of people come to me and pitch me with new business ideas and investors. And there are multiple categories and strategies. I want to know why you, okay, what's the unique selling proposition of your business, who the market is, who your competitors are, who the management in your business is, and what your exit strategy is, all right? Because that tells me that you've thought through all of those things. The market, the people, right? Your unique selling proposition, your exit strategy, and what problem do you solve and what need do you serve? Because if you're looking for somebody to invest money in, you have to have their confidence up, that you have the experience, the level of your management team, the connections, that power of association, all right? Plus you have the experience and the passion to make it work. You've identified the market, power of association. You've found the right advisors, power of association. You have the right systems in place. Those are the assets of the business. And that you have a strategy, taking action. You have a strategy that's going to get your business to the market. And then what that long-term goal is. all of those are going to give that confidence to potential investors. And all you want to get when you make a pitch, the sweetest words is from one of the investors saying, tell me more. It's kind of like the elevator pitch. Tell me more. Getting them interested and finding out more, because everybody shows a business, creates a business plan. Pretty much all of them show income at the end of 3 years. You know, they all are unique. So nobody can compete with us. So as investors, we're kind of jaundiced. We want to hear the enthusiasm, the excitement, the opportunity, the niche that you are going to serve. Don't try to be all things to all people. So I hope that helps. Good luck to you. And thank you. I'm proud of you for not having mom guilt anymore. All right, Bill, this is from Sean. All right. Thanks so much for doing this. My pleasure. When writing a book, what are the legalities around telling stories of other people? Let's say I want to tell a story of a famous person in my book and use that story as an example to emphasize my point. Do I have any concerns from a licensing perspective or anything like that? For things like this, where do you recommend I go to find these types of answers to these types of questions when writing a book? Thanks so much for doing this. Hi, Sean. Thank you so much for inviting me to participate today. And this is a great question. In fact, I had a very similar question on my Ask Sharon segment this morning. Telling your story. When I did Think and Grow Rich for Women, all right, I had a lot of women that I interviewed. I had them sign releases. I had women that I found in history. So I found legitimate resources that I could use to tell their stories. If I quoted something from someone, I always showed the source. So, but part of it is making sure that Wikipedia is not a valid source. So it's important if you're including people's stories, if you can get signed releases, that's the best of all worlds, because then you have their direct permission. If it's somebody who has passed and you want to share something that is not readily available somewhere else and it's not personal experience from you, you probably want to try and get permission from their estate. But typically, if you're going with a big publishing house, they're going to push back. They're going to ask you about permissions. They're going to ask you about that. And certainly if what you're sharing is something that is a less than positive light, I caution you even more, making sure you have documented backup to what you're sharing. And then always, IP attorneys are very important. I've been married to one for 38 years. And it's important to have that outside counsel opinion. If it's something that you think there might be a question, check it out. And anymore, when and if Angela, I know Angela is watching, there's a place when you do write things and if you're resourcing from somewhere else, there's an app that you can run through your material for that checks for any kind of plagiarism. I would suggest you do that to make sure that you're clean as a whistle on that. But it's important when you include people, if at all possible, to get their permission. Did I get permission for everybody in Think and Grow Rich? No. But I also elevated them to a level that everything that I wrote was just something that they'd be hardcore to try and say that there was a problem that I didn't get released. Now, there's also a difference between Joe Q public and a celebrity, right? A celebrity has a little less opportunity to come back after somebody because they have chosen to be in the public eye, and a lot of their information is available to the public. But I would much rather have my IP attorney look at something and determine if we need to do anything than me try to make that determination if there's any question. And so first, is it something that could be offensive? Then you need to take extra care to make sure that you're dotting the I's and crossing the T's. But a lot of people, their histories, how many people have quoted Einstein? How many times, he tried to invent the light bulb 10,000 times before it worked, right? Common public information. But again, source it and make sure that you're giving. In fact, when I was doing something a few months ago, I had a quote, I can't think of it off the top of my head now, that was sourced when I looked it up to someone that I knew it wasn't theirs. And so I had to dig deeper to find out where that quote originated. But I would have just been perpetuating a false attribution. And so it's important for you to do the research that you need to do to make sure that your information is accurate as possible and sourced. And again, as part of my Play Big Movement course, I have an entire bonus section on writing a book and telling your story. So I highly recommend and suggest. We have I know, Sean, you and I did a webinar on that to your folks a little while ago, and we are happy to honor that special 50% off pricing that we did then as well. If anyone here wants to go ahead and take advantage of that, I think Angela can, or somebody can put something in the comments. So, but, oh, Robin, thank you. Her course is amazing and one of the absolute best. That took me a long time to understand, being a woman in the construction field. You can be strong and soft, but takes practice. Well, thank you, Robin. What a nice comment. And thank you for the testimonial. We'd love that. If you can send it to info@Sharon Lechter, we will share it elsewhere as well. That's great. But ask yourself what it is that you want out of life. And every one of you, there's more for you to do. And if you don't seek the information, it's just not going to fly at you. So that's the whole creation of this course, was I wanted to share the things that I'm doing now to play big again after I had a few years of sadness and grief. And I said, I can choose. I had to choose. Do I want to live like that, or do I want to get back that energy and vitality that I had prior to losing my son? And I made that commitment. But as part of it, you see, for me, it's not about creating a new legacy. It's about continuing to build on the legacy I've created, but also sharing what I'm doing, because I am a natural teacher. I love to teach. So I share the things that I've done so that you can find things that worked for me that might very well work for you, and challenge you to think bigger. You step outside your comfort zone. Get to that point where you can create the success you deserve. And we're almost at the top of the hour, I just realized. So let me throw in here. Hi, Sharon. Thanks so much for taking the time to help us, from Johnny Gavin. When preparing for initial presentation with a potential client, what is your mindset going in? Do you have any tips or advice regarding preparation? Thanks again. Absolutely, Johnny. My number one tip is put yourself in their shoes, right? We are so excited about what we know we can do for them. We go in and we dump on them. First, get to know them a little bit. When I have a new presentation for somebody, I try to go in the night before and have a little bit of social time to get to know them better, to understand what their wants and their needs, their desires are. If it's somebody that's looking at multiple opportunities, and so you're one of several, you want to be as personal as you can, and you want to go in and know their business, know their life as much as possible, and identify their needs, the problems they may be having, and how you can solve them. And a lot of that is the power of the question. Don't assume anything. Asking questions help you identify how best you can serve them. And that's the greatest way. The benefits, not the features. All right. When you're doing marketing, talk about the benefits to the consumer, not what you do, but how their life will be better as a result of what you do. And Heather Harvey. One more question. With my mobile grooming company, my employees don't see each other very often, and I rarely see everyone at once with the exception of a quarterly meeting. We're having a breakdown in communication. I'm at a loss as to how to tighten this up when no one sees each other, and schedules are different for each person. Any suggestions for how to improve communication when everyone works remotely on different schedules? Well, Heather, there's lots of different ways to do that, and I've got 1 minute left. So number one, have a private Facebook group, have a group text, have a weekly Zoom call. People can do it from their cell phone, where you acknowledge the wins of each person in the group. You can post information, a community where they can make comments as well, where they can talk about new customers. You can acknowledge the employee of the week. It's all about communication and lifting everybody up. And in today's world where everyone is so remote and working remotely, this is a time where you need to create and utilize those systems that will allow you to bring everybody back together. There's the free service WhatsApp. We use those different groups within that. You can do something. There's others, I'm sure. And if you know one, please go ahead and share it, because all of this works together to make people feel validated. Earlier, I talked about my little wins. Little wins help you feel better about every day. All right. You may have a big goal, but it's easy to get dissatisfied and distracted from that big goal. But if you have benchmarks along the way, those little ones keep you going. That's why you want to have that circle of communication with all of your employees, so that you have the opportunity one-on-one. So if there's a problem, you don't involve everybody, you can deal with it, but then a way for you to communicate the little wins, the goals, the common initiatives with everybody, so that people feel that sense of community within your business. And once a quarter is tough. I highly recommend you have a weekly call, some sort of a weekly connection with everyone, so that people can continue knowing that they own part of that business, that they own the future and are contributing to the future of your company. And I just would love all of these comments. Sean, thank you. Love that velvet hammer, communication, delivery of words, and body language is very important. Let's see. Well, thank you, Johnny. And I have lots of comments on here that I'm looking over to the side, so I'm not looking at you right now. Caleb, I appreciate the fact that you give nice feedback. And Thibaut, you watched me on my power players. Yep, thank you. That was fun. Never know what you're going to do happen with Grant. Lilas, thank you. Dennis, hi, Sharon. Oh, so many of you. I really appreciate everybody that's giving me the feedback, and know that it's my honor to have been with you today. And I know I'm a couple of minutes over. Sean, thank you so much for having me. And I appreciate the opportunity. And I invite all of you to come play big with me. We have a private Facebook group called Play Big Movement with Sharon Lechter. But I invite you to find out more about the course. As I said, happy to extend the initial deep discount to this group, because I appreciate your activity, your wonderful comments, and I thank you very much for your time today. And I challenge you, Play Big Movement. It's all about being number one in your field, living your legacy, which is how you touch people every single day, and creating maximum impact. So go out there, play big, and I hope that we'll get to know each other better. Thank you so much.